A teenager and his girlfriend are driving home from a night on the town. The boyfriend had been playing around earlier about the car running out of gas as a means to make out, and his girlfriend showed her distaste with a scowl and a few choice words. Beaten, he starts up the car and begins heading for her home to drop her off, when, lo and behold, the car really does run out of gas. The boyfriend pulls off to the side of the road in a wooded area under large, looming trees. It's very late, and the area around them shows no signs of life. No houses or businesses in sight. Remembering a gas station the couple had passed not too far back, the boyfriend decides to take his gas canister and hoof it. He tells her to stay in the car, since there was no need for both of them to go, and promises to be back within a couple hours. He rolls up all of the windows, shuts off the lights, takes a quick kiss, and tells her to lock the doors. Then, waving goodbye, he sets off. The girlfriend does as he asks and waits in the car, turning the radio down and listening, anxious for him to return. After about 20 minutes pass, she begins to hear a faint scratching noise. A tree branch has just begun to slide across the car in the wind, she guesses. After a little while, the noise begins to bother her. She turns up the radio to block out the sound while she waits. After almost 2 hours, her boyfriend has still not returned. Worried, she turns off the radio completely and listens for his return, but all she hears is the scratch, scratch, scratch of that damned tree branch. Slowly, ever so slowly as she waits in the near silent woods in the protective shell of her boyfriend's car, she becomes drowsy. It becomes harder and harder for her to stay awake, and she decides that he will be back soon and wake her up then. Morning sunshine and a loud voice wake the girl from her sleep. She is dazed and very confused as she hears,
"Ma'am, in the car. Are you all right?"
She peers to her left, around the empty driver's seat, to see a brigade of cars from her local and state police departments. There was that scratch, scratch, scratching sound still, too. A sheriff's deputy with a megaphone again speaks.
"Ma'am, I'm going to have to ask you to get out of the vehicle and walk down the road to the waiting sheriff's car, okay?"
"Whatever you do not turn around."
Confused and a little weary, she wonders if her boyfriend was hurt on his way to the gas station. Maybe he broke his ankle in a pothole. Obediently, though, she slid over the console to the driver's side seat and then got out of the driver's door, walking past the man with the megaphone to a sheriff's car on the road nearby. Curiously, she turned around to see the branch that had bothered her all night, and she let out a hideous, wrenching wail as she watched the tips of her boyfriend's shoelaces slide across the roof of his car as he hanged in the wind. His neck lolled at an unnatural angle, secured by a noose to a large branch above, and on the branch sat a man, smiling madly. It turns out the teens weren't parked far from an insane asylum the madman had escaped the day before.
The Bath Game, or Daruma-san, is a paranormal ghost game that originated in Japan. The game involves summoning a grotesque ghost that will follow you all day. The object of the game is to evade the ghost and prevent it from catching you. I do advise you from playing this game, but if you must, here are the Bath Game instructions. Step 1. Before you go to bed at night, take off all your clothes and go into the bathroom. Step 2. Fill the bathtub with water and turn off the lights. Step 3. Sit in the middle of the bathtub, facing the faucet or taps. Step 4. Wash your hair, while repeating over the words, Daruma-san fell down, Daruma-san fell down. Step 5. As you wash your hair, in your mind, you should see an image of a Japanese woman standing in a bathtub. She slips and falls into a rusty tap. The tap goes through her eye and kills her. Step 6. Keep repeating the words, Daruma-san fell down, Daruma-san fell down, until you finish washing your hair. Your eyes must remain shut. You may hear or feel a slight movement in the bathwater behind you. Keep your eyes closed. Do not peek. You have just summoned a ghost. A ghostly figure of a woman will rise out of the water behind you. You will feel her presence as she stares at you, her head just behind your right shoulder. Her hair is black and tangled. Her clothes are tattered and rotting. She has only one eye. Her left eye is wide open and bloodshot. Her right eye is missing, leaving just a bloody, hollow eye socket. Step 7. When you sense the presence of the ghost, say out loud, "Why did you fall in the bath?" Step 8. Keeping your eyes shut tightly, stand up. Get out of the bath. Be careful not to trip or fall. Immediately leave the bathroom and shut the door behind you. Now it's safe to open your eyes. Leave the water in the bath overnight. Go to sleep. The next morning when you wake up, the game will begin. The ghost of the one-eyed woman will be following you. Whenever you turn to look, she will disappear. Throughout the day, when you glance over your right shoulder, you will occasionally catch a glimpse of her. She will get closer and closer as the day goes on. Do not allow her to catch you. If you glance over your shoulder and you see she is way too close, you should shout "Tama," which means stop. Then run away as quickly as possible. This will allow you to put some distance between yourself and the one-eyed woman. To win the game, you must catch a glimpse of the ghostly woman and shout "Kita," which means "I cut you loose." Then hold out your hand in front of you and swing it down in a cutting motion like a karate chop. You should end the game before midnight, otherwise the one-eyed girl will appear in your dreams and follow you. Bath game rules. Do not open your eyes when the ghost figure first appears. Do not allow the ghost to trip you when you get out of the bath. Do not re-enter the bathroom after you leave. Do not drain the bathtub until morning. Do not allow the one-eyed girl to catch up to you.
One night, a woman went out for drinks with her girlfriends. She left the bar fairly late at night, got in her car and onto the deserted highway. After a few minutes, she noticed a lone pair of headlights in her rear-view mirror approaching at a pace just slightly quicker than hers. As the car pulled up behind her, she glanced and saw the turn signal on. The car was going to pass, when suddenly it swerved back behind her, pulled up dangerously close to her tailgate, and the brights flashed. Now she was getting nervous. The lights dimmed for a moment, and then the brights came back on, and the car behind her surged forward. The frightened woman struggled to keep her eyes on the road and fought the urge to look at the car behind her. Finally, her exit approached, but the car continued to follow, flashing the brights periodically. Through every stoplight and turn, it followed her until she pulled into her driveway. She figured her only hope was to make a mad dash into the house and call the police. As she flew from the car, so did the driver of the car behind her, and he screamed,
"Lock the door and call the police. Call 911.
When the police arrived, the horrible truth was finally revealed to the woman. The man in the car had been trying to save her. As he pulled up behind her, and his headlights illuminated her car, he saw the silhouette of a man with a butcher knife rising up from the back seat to stab her. So he flashed his brights, and the figure crouched back down. Always check the back seat.